We should give two things to our children. First, roots, and then wings. The words of a Sudanese proverb that bring us into this episode of the Jamaican Dadz podcast. I'm Dennis Brooks.
I'm Alan Campbell.
And I'm Garth Williams. And we are
Jamaican Dadz.
Welcome to the podcast. This program is all about providing Jamaican men with a healthy, safe space and a functional forum to tackle a number of taboo issues related to our masculinity.
Well, we are, as we always say, of varying experiences, of differing backgrounds and ideas and beliefs about how the world should be. But we are all joined by the fact that we are committed to our children, to our families, and to our country.
So this podcast is a safe space for us as men to discuss issues about, just being fathers. But the truth is, lots of the information about parenthood out there is written by women and for women. And while nothing is wrong with that, we've got to be the change we want to see. We need a dad-centric position.
Indeed, and so we have another great show lined up for you today. We've got Dad Try This with another cool life hack for us fathers. We have Fresh to Death. We're going to be picking up where we left off. It's about beard basics, part 2. And in our main discussion segment that we call the meat of the matter, this week we are looking at starting the academic journey. But before we get there, let us fire off with the opening salvo. And in this week's opening salvo, we discuss the findings of a recent U.S. survey entitled The Effects of Smartphone Use on Parenting.
Yeah, it's an interesting one.
Smartphones, dumb people.
Smartphones, dumb people. There's that. But both of you in particular, well, Dennis is super techie. Everybody knows this. So, yeah. He's got a few devices here and there. But Marlon has Judah Chronicles. He doesn't label it as Judah Chronicles, but it really is, because there's always a story on Instagram with our little friend running around by the pool, eating breadfruit,
running up in parents' blood pressure.
So let's share a little bit about that, because you also would hear that smartphone use can have negative effects on children. Well, this particular survey goes against that. Parents may worry that spending time on their smartphones has a negative effect on their relationships with their children. However, a new comprehensive analysis published in the Journal of Child Psychology and Psychiatry found that this is unlikely to be the case. In the analysis of data from 3,659 parent-based surveys, the authors tested 84 different possibilities to assess whether smartphone use was associated with parenting, and they found little evidence. Accordingly, they explored whether the effect...
Associated with parenting or bad parenting or what?
No. So are people using smartphones to parent?
Oh,
right.
Okay, cool.
So accordingly, they explored whether the effect of phone use on parenting depended on whether it displaced time with family and was associated with family conflict. At low levels of displacing time with family, more smartphone use was associated with better, not worse, parenting. So it would appear, and they go on into it. This is an article. I took a little time to kind of look at the research.
Maybe we can tag it in.
We'll tag it in the description, right? But what happened is that a lot of people are using their smartphones to help them parent. So
exactly.
They're looking for information. They're looking for advice.
Oh, yeah.
They're looking for stories that
Justine.
Yeah.
Like, all right, for me, I'm looking for apps that will assist me, to provide me with information. And so in my own experience, the period of gestation was all about every day researching something. Now, as a parent, I think I don't do it as much. But I'm still reading, I'm checking out things. If I see something on the skin, I'm going to explore this specific type of rash to make sure if it is a heat rash or eczema or something else.
Don't go on WebMD though, because
God, no. With WebMD, you will find an illness for
your symptom.
For your symptom. You will give yourself something. So I mean I always, and that is Susan though. like Susan will go Google crazy and stress out herself, and you know, before you know it, you don't have mesothelioma or something like that, something that's advertised well,
right?
You know,
You don't have kids clinic. I wonder if your child.
exactly.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, I think about the fact that we didn't have these things when we were children,
Right.
and we were functional. We turned out okay.
We're still here.
Okay.
We're still here.
That
You
is
know,
great
we're here
achievement.
in charge of children now. So I mean, that must speak for something. But I mean, depending on the operationalization of the variables in the research, I mean, that's another story. But smartphone use in and of itself is not problematic. But what I would say is screen time
Right.
is
For the children.
And for the
parent,
parent.
yeah.
Because I've spoken to parents who say this is going to be our approach. I have one colleague who said that the decision was taken in their home that they are going to have 0 screen time when the child is in the room. It caused a problem, but there was a study that showed that screen time affects language development. So the more time you spend on a screen or exposing the child to the screen, or you're on your phone, that means you're not talking.
TV also?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're not talking to the child. So you're not engaging the child with language.
Right.
And to be fair, it kind of worked for that person because that person's child developed a ridiculously large vocabulary very early.
Okay.
But I made the decision, and I asked myself, with Jackson, am I going to limit screen time, as in, if he's awake, turn off the TV? No.
No.
I've exposed him to baby TV very early. I've exposed him by a tablet before him born. And from him born, I think that was my mistake.
Right.
Because he's been using tablet from him born, and now him taking up my phone. And when him realize it's like, because him wanting to unlock him, because him realize it's not locked. I can't get to the apps.
Right.
And I'll tell you a funny story during the break, but
Wow, it's that bad, huh? All right, yes.
but the lad is just obsessed with the technology. So for me now,
Because it's what he's used to,
Right.
And that's just the thing.
and so for me, it's about controlling screen time for him, because I do believe that you have to limit screen time. So him just wake up, and I know him want to watch TV, and him want or him want to go on the tablet, and I'm going to say no, because I do believe we need to engage him differently, or he needs to be engaged with books.
Yeah.
Or he needs to be engaged with writing implements. He went to his grandmother and came back trying to write things. And I realized he's never seen his parents write anything.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's
And him
worse.
come back from him granny, and all of a sudden, him a write things. And he's up like...
Which is good, by the way.
And anytime I go and pick him up, he has a pen in his hand down by his granny because she was pen and them something there.
Right.
And like I can't think of where a pen is in the house right now.
Right,
In my house.
Except for like a S pen or a
X-pen.
stylus.
A stylus, yeah. So I bought him crayons and book.
Yep.
I bought him crayons and book, and apart from tearing up the book, he must scribble. And I'm like,
Yeah, that's
yes,
good.
because he needs time away
We
from
got
the
him.
screen.
We got him because he has crayons and book.
Yeah.
Still prefers to write in his mother's texts, where she have her psychology and thing, where she take it.
Yeah, because they're
He
some
doesn't
of the
understand appropriate writing spaces.
Also, those books need to be updated. He's doing his part.
Yeah, it's the nature of science. We're
Yeah.
constantly critiquing ourselves.
Yeah, but that's it with him. But he watches. There's a lot of TV on in the house though.
Like I find it's
But
hilarious.
it's baby TV.
It's baby TV, but then there's a time in the evening when I come home and I want to watch Family Feud and Big Bang Theory. So it's now that if he hears the Family Feud theme, he gets excited and claps. If he hears Big Bang Theory, he gets excited and claps. He's
We're
not
party.
into Baby Shark, but if he hears the nationwide news theme,
Yeah.
he gets excited and claps.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous.
Sat down and watch some episodes of this, me and him, like one of Jamaican Dadz, and he
Yeah.
sit down and he's like, I think at one point he recognized like it kind of looked like
Hey, that guy on that screen.
Kind of like
that you?
coming together and also that. But in the house, word parties on all the time.
All the time.
Yeah,
And I
but
think it's
word
good.
party because it's different things they're teaching and so forth. So it's constantly on. I don't. Is me lacking screen time now?
Yeah,
right.
Watch from you.
But it overall, it's important for balance, right?
Yes.
It should never be skewed to one side or another. You really have to ensure that there is that broad bit of balance. Funny story. My nephew Jamar is just about the same age as Jackson and Judah, right? And what gets him going is the cash pot theme.
Yeah.
Because, and I'll tell you why. Because at home, well, where he stays at his granny, right? There's religious watching of
Cash pot.
of the draws, right? So, and once the TV's on, invariably it's on TVJ in and around that time, right? So he'll sit, and then because of all the balls moving around and that kind of a thing, like
Get
that
excited.
Yeah, man.
excites him, you know. Interestingly, the boy is not a lot into tablets and phones and what have you. So when he comes to our house, and we've got large TVs, right? So when he comes to our house and we're like, okay, we're hanging out now, let's take a break from running up and down outside, and you have the big screen, let me find something else to do. He's just not
not
drawn
his
to
thing?
it because it's not what he's used to. You know what I mean? Just one other thing. The authors noted that especially considering diverse family environments, smartphones play multiple roles in family life. Right? So use them for balance. And when not heavily impacting on family time, they may have a positive role in parenting. Now, this particular research is not refuting any of the others which talk about screen time and language development
Yes.
and so on and so forth. But what it is saying is that smartphone use can be a positive thing. It's
Yes.
just how you use
use
it.
it.
Because a lot of people just toss these devices at the kids to as a passive quiet. Yeah, just keep
Yes.
quiet and do your thing while I'm over here doing my thing. That for me sets up a bad precedent because what's going to happen after a while is this child is going to become very much into it. And like the same issue you might have with Jackson is that you might find him rebelling a bit when
When it's time to take it away.
Exactly. I have that issue now with my 7-year-old, but it's summertime, so we just kind of allow him because what am I going to do? You know what I mean?
Run up and down.
Like I see it already that I'm gonna have in future tablets. I'm gonna set timers.
Right. Yeah, we
Because
do
you
that too.
do that. You can set screen time, and you can set screen time for a particular app.
Right.
So especially, I mean, I know that the iOS devices are good like that. That they set you can set screen time limits on particular apps. But like I'm at the point now where Jackson knows the YouTube app. Jackson knows the storybook apps. He know the nationwide app. I was gonna say, yeah. I'll tell you about that one.
Gotcha.
I'll tell you about that one.
So, folks, what we've got to do, again, the message is around balance. You're using your cell phones, no problem, but make sure that it's not just being tossed at the kid as a pacifier. You're using it to engage them in good activities, engage yourself, engage your mind, and use it to see how you can better yourself as a parent, right?
Watch TV with them or
Right.
engage with them
them.
as
And
they use
talk.
the tablet and
Yeah, man,
talk
to them. That's why,
Yeah.
as you know, me and Judah,
all the
full
time.
length conversations all the time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
all, full length. Him
Yeah.
soon answer back.
Wait, him soon fix the
Soon.
remote. I saw
Yeah,
that
man.
one.
No, he tried. Oh, you saw that?
I saw that
Did
one.
you see this morning?
No.
Spider Pig? No. You saw?
I saw.
Jeez,
I have not updated myself
that-
as yet.
the man. Like, he's too smart.
It's too smart.
It's too smart.
It's too smart. Well, we don't know who we got that from.
Clearly.
With that
Clearly.
said, that's all the time we have for the
Guess we're
openings.
gonna lose a host.
That's all the time we have for the opening salvo this time round. Please, we'd like to hear from you. Send us your emails, JamaicanDadsPodcast@gmail.com. You can find us online. We're on Twitter, The Jamaican Dads. And you can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Jamaican Dads.
Like and subscribe and share on YouTube.
There you go. We'll be right back with the meat of the matter after this.
Welcome back to this episode of the Jamaican Dadz podcast. I'm Dennis along with Marlon and Garth. Do apologize for the absence of Floyd Green. He'll be with us next week. Well, today you're into the meat of the matter, and we're looking at a very important topic, starting the academic journey. It is absolutely important because we have to get our children off to a good start, to a right start. And we often are obsessed. We are often obsessed with maybe sending them to an expensive school or this type of top of the line kindergarten or whatever. But the truth is that, you know, there are phobias that children have. There are dislikes of a subject that children have later on in life that it's simply because they did not get off to a good start. Yeah. And I think that, I mean, other parents, dads are trying to figure it out. Where do I send the child? Where do I start? What are the considerations? You have done it too.
Yeah.
You've done too. You're a little bit further down the road than I. Listeners, viewers, if you don't know this, but like I feel like I was a part of the Hopies experience.
Right? Yeah, of course.
I emceed many a Christmas
and graduation
at Hopies, and so I know what it is like. But how do you make that decision, and how important or nervous or anxious was it in terms of deciding where we're going to go, how we're going to go about it?
Before I even answer that, right? I think one of the things that we have to ensure that we all consider here in this room and for everybody who's tuned in, understanding the importance of considering your child's academic future.
Amen.
Absolutely.
So even before myself and Donit decided, okay, we're going to Hopies kindergarten to start our children's journey, we sat down and we went through, just like you mentioned, a whole long list of, okay, when them take this first step, where will it lead or where can it lead, right? Because as you mentioned, Dennis, the wrong start, it have ramifications further down the line.
Yes.
Right? You have to consider the fact that your child is more than just a academic being in the making. Your child is a social being. You know? Your child is an emotional being. Your child will have to learn how to make correct moral decisions.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
Now, you also remember that your child will not always be in the house all the while. As a matter of fact, once a child starts going to school or daycare, they will spend most of their time,
most of their awake time,
exactly, in those spaces, right? And away from you and away from your influence. So you've got to ensure that once it starts, that you can provide the child with that kind of moral guidance, a space where they can be emotionally catered to, a space where they can become better social beings, first and foremost, because again, if it start wrong, it's hard to fix.
For me, I think of the fact that, all right, I have seen too many people say, me can't do maths. And it's only because they had a bad maths teacher to start off with. They had bad math experiences or bad English experiences and them just give up on it early, or they don't realize that they've been psychologically muted to these particular areas of academic endeavor. But also you might be looking for, you have to think about safety and things like that, because I know for the first few months, I am going to be worried. I can't let it show. I mean, because I have to go compensate for the fact the missus are worried more than me.
Right.
So, but like, I am going to be worried. What is happening to him? Is he safe? If him drop whatever and all of these things.
Right.
But important as well for many people is spiritual guidance.
Right.
Do I want the child to go to a Christian type school where the child will be taught certain values that are in line with what I believe?
Well, the truth is, by and large, you have most schools, even early childhood institutions, have some kind of Christian leaning, unless it is another religion that operates this early childhood
But then
institution.
some are better than some. So you might be saying, I want the child to go to Stella Maris, or I want the child to go to St. Peter and Paul, or I want the child to go to Emmanuel, and so I'm going to start there. Or they have a particularly good early childhood program, or they expose them to technology, or they expose them to swimming, or these kinds of things, different things. So there are various things that you'll want, and then I don't know that any school is going to be great at all of them. So where do you start?
All right. So remember now, it starts with daycare. You have to, and preschool, you have to get them into that bit before anything else, right?
So the question then is when?
Right. Now, in Jamaica, it's funny because in Jamaica versus like the United States and the UK, I can speak to those, and even Canada, what happens is that they don't take the kids for kindergarten and stuff like that until they're like 4 or 5.
Yes.
Here in Jamaica,
4 or 5.
4 or 5. I mean, and obviously for daycare purposes, then once they're months old, you can take them
3
to different
months.
spaces and stuff and whatever,
Yeah.
right? So, but let's forget kindergarten for now or basic school for now. Let's go with daycare. What you want to ensure, first and foremost, is that the institution, the space, is an accredited early childhood institution. Right?
Very important.
Right. So you can go there, you can call, you can ask, and then you can also follow up with the Early Childhood Commission.
Trish, big up Trish.
Right? Because they can say to you, okay, we are aware of this institution, we know whatever they can, so you can get your information through the Early Childhood Commission. Ask of the operators of the space to provide you with any kind of certification they have. In fact, in an office somewhere on the property, there should be a certificate, something displayed that clearly you can inspect and make sure it's the date. If there's an expiry date. No, I'm saying, no, for real. Check these things. Check these things. Ensure, right? Then also find out about the qualifications of those persons who will be giving care to your child. Right?
Because the institution might be certified, but then you have people who are not fully qualified.
And I'm glad you said that, because honestly, you have to pick somewhere where the people love picnic, actually love picnic.
Right.
And that's the one thing. That's one thing I love about Judah's daycare. Like, you can genuinely see that these people care about kids. Them love kids. Love kids.
Also, after a while, and if they're not into the kids, you will know. Market, that is not the way you want to find out, but you will know. So, certification for an approval or accreditation for the institution itself, the space, and then also find out what the aunties and so on, they call everybody auntie.
Auntie, everybody up front is uncle.
Right. What the auntie's qualifications and what their levels are like, right? Because that will be super important. Also, ensure, and this is still for daycare now, you look around the space, is it child-proof? Are the sockets covered? Are they away from the children? Where will my child or the children, where are the children kept? You understand me? Are there sharp objects? What type of toys them have? Do they have a cleaning regime? Ask about,
that is far more important.
Ask about these things.
That's all I'm thinking about. Like, I'm just skinning up my face in my mind and saying, like, some place where not look good.
Right.
Now, like with daycare, our daycare is reopening on a test phase for 10 days.
For COVID protocols.
Yeah, for just with I think they are at maybe 25 or maybe 30% capacity.
Because how do you social distance babies?
You do not. You do not.
It's so hard.
You do not. Now, that's the other thing too. I mean, thankfully, for you guys, we feel it. Because the youth them young and we've got COVID. My two them gone through the phase a long time. So we have to think about that right now. But think about daycare is the fact that
I noticed you said right now. Continue.
Is there something you want to tell us?
No, there's nothing. There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. Right? But it is something that you have to consider, how the interaction with the other children will go, how the interaction with the aunties will go, and is this space clean and clear? And we'll talk about that a little more after we take this break Again, you are tuned into the Jamaican Dadz podcast. Share with us a little bit about your experience with taking your child to school for the first time, to daycare, to kindergarten. What were the things you considered? What were some red flags that you think you should share so that other parents can be aware? We'll be right back after this.
Welcome back to the Jamaican Dadz podcast. If you're just joining us, we are discussing starting the academic journey, the importance of getting your child off to a good start, that first set of decisions that are so critical. And before we went to the break, we were looking at, deciding on an early childhood institution. But Garth, and I want to hear how we've done it before. Jermaine King will tell you I ask a lot of questions about this. He's given me his own ideas because especially when you take the approach of you will have a nanny who will come to the house.
Right.
So you have a nanny who comes to the house between a certain time and a certain time. And then now the child becomes of age, whether it's 18 months or 24 months, whatever you decide. And I've heard people decide that they're waiting until the child is 2. Some people say you have to wait until the child is starting to use potty. I don't know. You can explain to me.
Oh, you mean
You can explain
no,
how that
no,
works.
no, not for daycare. Daycare.
Right.
Well, daycare, because it can be. Daycare
daycare
is
is
too
wonderful.
early.
Right, so let's wrap that daycare.
So explain
I'm going to go
those
there.
dynamics.
Yeah, man, I'm going to go there right now. All right, so from you go, where we were with the whole daycare conversation was that make sure that the place is clean, ensure that the principal or whoever is running the institution has a certain number of qualifications, approved or accredited by or recognized by the Early Childhood Commission, etc., etc., etc.
Right.
The space itself, is it safe for the child? Is it safe for the children? Sharp objects, what is their cleaning regime like? Is the space clean? No, don't get too anal about the space being clean like that. Right? Remember now.
People need to get germs.
Just hear me out. At home, in your house is never 100% absolutely like pristine. It's a lived-in space. What I'm saying is, certain things you have to look out for, obviously, right? But if,
I don't want to see a dead frog in the
exactly,
playroom.
if a tile crack or if you know what I mean, if there's a sign of grime, obviously, that is a big red flag. Turn away immediately. You understand me? But just know that it's a space with children in it daily. And depending on the time of day when you go there, it now go 100% fully in line.
And plus, like I said, picnic need to get used to sun germs.
Zin? So, right.
Susan?
No.
What
is
the truth?
Right, what you need to be careful of, what need to always look proper and pristine 100%, spaces where food is kept and food is prepared, right? The restroom and bathroom facilities and the changing facilities, them something there, you can't compromise upon. You understand me? So you're not supposed to go in the bathroom and then, like, one, it smell weird, Zin? And then, like, there's a leaky pipe that obviously don't get no attention. You know what I mean? And you in there look like it coulda clean. If it coulda clean, it shoulda clean. Check with yourself. You understand me? Me say that. Right?
If it coulda clean, it shoulda clean.
A bathroom and a picnic. You understand what I'm saying? Because they're going to go in there. It has to be in a constant state of readiness. The other open spaces, not so much. Obviously, once me not say dirt for tumble down in there. But at the same time, right, you can't compromise on the food space and the hygienic spaces. Right? Yeah. All right. Now, starting that journey, most preschools take them. They will risk it, and I use risk in air quotes here. They will risk it and take your child at 18 months. But most times they would have want
not daycare. You mean kindergarten?
Kindergarten, preschool. They will take them 18 months to 2 years, right? In that general ballpark. Because at that phase, the child has a certain level of cognitive abilities to recognize authority, to recognize that mommy is going to leave or daddy is going to leave, I'm going to be here. They can follow instructions. They can understand. Them have a certain basic level of understanding that they can, proceed
Simple
with.
commands.
Right?
Right.
Simple commands and that kind of a thing. Now, also in this phase, I'm going to teach them they're going to potty train them and that kind of thing. Now, potty training at home might be super difficult, but I tell you the honest truth. None of my children were potty trained by me.
That's
Zane, Donnet tried.
oh,
Right?
I tried,
But there was no success until them did start preschool.
Okay.
Like,
They
they tell you
probably see
honest
other
truth.
kids.
Like they got there and like within about 2 weeks, potty trained. They could tell you that
party.
yeah, potty. Let me tell you, straight, right? By the time Nick and Noel got to about 2.5 or so, even before that, a little after them turned 2, right? Them would have come for you and just hold your hand and say potty. You understand me? We could get them out of diapers into pull-ups by the time they got to like 3. Because
he's in-
them know what's going on with them body, they
Judah is
understand.
Judah
I
is
don't
in
know.
pull-ups now, but and he does take you to where he wants to go. Like
Right.
when he go fridge or outside. Like this morning, he literally take up him bike,
Yeah.
bring it to me, put it there, look at me, and headed to the door because servant has to
Yeah.
take it up and bring it.
Of
But
course.
there, like with potty, I've been trying and do
Take your
what
time,
I'm
bro.
saying.
Me reach I don't think it necessary.
For you,
no,
yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Take your time, bro. Don't worry. Don't any parents out there right now who your youth take a while to get to that
Yeah.
state of potty readiness. Don't worry about it.
I don't know.
It's okay. It's okay.
I was compelled to read too much Sigmund Freud to be forcing potty training onto the child.
Right.
I'm too concerned that they're going to have some long-term effects.
Really, what going to happen? He's going to grow up afraid of the bathroom. The sight of porcelain is going to trigger something.
Right? Early childhood PTSD.
Yeah.
All right. Now, so those are some of the things to consider. Now, again, academic qualifications are very important for selecting.
Yeah, but you mentioned
Sorry.
2.5 years, and I want to hammer down, for instance, all right, so you have a nanny. Daycares and them thing there tend to, you drop them off at what, or preschool, you tend to drop them off at what time and pick them up at what time?
So by 8 o'clock, he dropped them off, right? 8-ish, thereabout. Some will
They
allow
might
it.
register, I'm joking.
Yeah. They do. Yeah, just
Nick?
Yeah, to make sure
just
who's
make sure.
there.
Right.
Present.
Right.
School.
Don't it out in the playground. You can take them there earlier because most of them will open from like even 6
7.
o'clock or so,
Yeah,
right?
because-
At least
Because them a facilitate.
right? But by 8-ish, 8 to 8:30 in that ballpark,
Yes.
they're there, and then by around, they don't keep them for very long, you know. By about 1:30, them ready to go.
So that means that, and I've been told that, all right, you keep your nanny, and now you send the child off to preschool. So you pick up the child, drop them home, and make the child stay with the nanny. And then when you get home from work,
Your shift start.
your shift starts.
Oh, that's the
All right,
worst
now,
part, though,
so a lot of
sometimes.
people may not have the facility or the financial bandwidth to afford a nanny, right? Which is where aftercare at the institution is very important, right? So once the formal side of the schooling done, then they manage the children until you can pick them up or until the nanny can pick them up or whatever, right? It is important to ask about what type of activities they've got for the children, right?
As in
aftercare.
Okay.
So is it, and most times what will happen, or what happened at Hope is in particular, yeah, they get a bit of TV time, they also get a bit of nap time, they get meals, right? And they get play time for us do themselves,
or whatever.
right? There was minimal academic activity in aftercare, right? Like the TV time, most of the TV time is not just airhead cartoons. It was a bit of learning
baby
activities
TV,
and baby type TV and stuff like that, right?
I was once told, bruh, you're going to take your child to school, your child is going to get sick.
Yes.
accept it.
Yes. Yes.
Seriously.
Yes. Yes.
Your child is going to get sick.
It's a guarantee.
Even that they
Whether hand, foot, and mouth, or
but
flu,
that's
or
why I
fever.
think maybe.
All right. So
That's
two things will happen to your children. They will learn. They will get sick.
Yeah.
It is going.
So just accept it. Prepare.
Yes. Yes.
And so prepare the missus from now.
Yes.
Because sometimes they take it worse than the child.
Yes. So what happens is that what you can do if you're an attentive parent as well, or if you have the time, I should say, because some of us genuinely may not be able to have the time.
Yeah.
Right? What I used to do, there was a day or a couple of days when I would have said to my boss, I'm going to come in a little bit late-ish because I'm spending a little time at school, right? And I would just observe the children. We just dead there. You understand me? Me see who a sniffle, me see who a cough, me see, you understand me? So at least me can prepare me say, well, all right, the one that have a cold. So
stay away from my child.
So yeah, you can't. They're not come. You can't.
But the good thing is, like with even this reopening, I think they are so used to dealing with stuff like this, like with hand, foot, and mouth and so forth, that they might do they should probably do a very good job keeping
so like
the
a
kids.
contagion like hand and mouth is really not that.
It's not that common.
It because I mean, because the truth is we've got that under control. It's popped up from time to time, but it's not something that.
No, but what I'm saying is
like
that
wildfire.
They are so used to
managing those
that them and whatever necessary protocols and spotting things quick, that it should help them in terms of our present situation.
Yeah, and teachers will say to you as well, okay, Mr. Brooks, Mr. Campbell, we have a child who has a flu or had the flu or has a cold, right? Yeah. Just putting it on your guard. So ensure that Judah and Jackson get extra vitamin C, make sure they eat more fruits, and you know what I mean? They will say those things to you, so at least you're prepared to know. These are the things that you have to ask as well, right? Ask these questions. Nobody have cool in the class. Nobody say, you understand me?
What I do is I sneak and I look in the medication book. There's a medication book.
There's a medication book.
Well, at always where you write it down, so I'm doing like,
is all you want to say who the pan what?
But no,
you know, so you shouldn't say that on camera.
No. Look and see who have flu.
Okay.
They're not telling
now.
Like
okay.
See, like you're writing like flu. Okay, no flu, we're good.
All right. Okay. So you have to look out for these things. But let me tell you, to be honest with you, to go back to your earlier point now about like somebody not being into math or not being into science or not whatever because of the poor start they have or got, what you have to look at is the qualifications of the teachers and the track record of the school. So I'll say this to you. For example, we had a lot of students from Hope who went to like St. Richard's, right? A lot of students went to a number of other prominent prep and primary schools after leaving Hope That for me was like a big plus. I say what it means is if you get in St. Richard's, I know
St. Richard's is harder to get in than some prep school.
Which is what I was saying. That like you have, like I've heard the stories. Look here, you have to register the child from them in a belly, from them born, else you're not getting in because the line is long. Is that stuff true or is that?
No, let me tell you. So people are a little bit cliquish. It's like a club them would have want. Kind of
my people got vast prep.
Right. So no. Because you have like Miss Laura's basic school, we still create some champion student. You understand what I'm saying?
No, I don't think his question is no. His question is whether or not it's true that you have to be registered, not something
that you have to get them early.
In some cases you do. Because what happens is that you have feeder institutions.
Yeah.
You understand me? So you'll have a particular daycare that kind of feed into a kindergarten, right? And that kindergarten or that basic school will feed into a particular prep school or feed into a particular primary school. You understand me? And then those primary schools, some cases or some of those prep schools feed into particular secondary level institutions. You understand me?
So you need to get them on the conveyor belt very early.
Exactly. Right? But the truth is, the biggest factor in the success of your child from an academic perspective is how much of a role you play in their development. You cannot leave it up to the school. You have to know what's going on in the school and therefore can play that role where you participate and you get them on that path. Even if you don't know maths, you recognize you don't know maths.
I always say, look here, my granny never know them something there, but you would never know. Let me see a book.
Yeah.
Like in retrospect, I'm like, Grandma, you didn't know no algebra. But like, you think, oh, Grandma, going to look in my book, right? You know?
Better up to date.
So yeah, it's true. You be a part of it, and you learn a lot from being a part of the education.
One of the things that I do from the baby them in a belly was that me make sure say me start freshen up my knowledge on certain things. You understand me? Because I have to go be a part.
I can't do long division anymore. Like I need to.
There's a YouTube video for that.
Yeah.
And on that note, this is a conversation we're going to have to continue because we're barely scratching the surface here. But we're going to continue it with some qualified professionals who can give us a little more
of the theoretical
side of
but
it.
This was the experiential conversation, and I think it was an important conversation to have because my questions are genuine questions, and there are other people who are genuinely saying, I don't know this, I don't understand this, what do I do? And I mean, and from a practical, experiential perspective, I think that there's great value to having these conversations.
Absolutely. All right, that's it for the meat of the matter, starting the academic journey. When we come back, it's Beard Basics Part 2 in the Jamaican Dadz podcast.
Thanks for staying with us here on the Jamaican Dadz podcast. If you're just joining us, we're now into the segment that we call Fresh to Death. And we're looking at part 2 of a discussion that we started last week about beard basics. And so we looked at the
growth strategy
last time.
Right.
You know, little secret tips for your pitchy patchy parts.
Right.
But there is,
and again, we don't have Floyd to be a part of the beard conversation.
The universe is conspiring against Floyd.
I think he's skipping because he knows it's beard. I think he skipped deliberately because he knows we're talking about beards. And he's feeling like, there's no contribution I can make.
So I'll pass.
He's barely making a facial contribution there. All right, so sorry, Floyd, we just had to do that to you. No, so around growth strategy, it was just reminding persons or sharing that it does not happen overnight. Well, I mean, the hair grows overnight, but to get a full beard, you're talking about 4 to 6 weeks. For some people, it may be longer.
38 years in
some cases, right? So it's something that you start from day one, right? But now we're going to take a quick look at like daily care, deep cleaning, taming your beard, and trim time, right? Get into the habit, and you obviously, gentlemen, we've all done this before. Get into the habit of giving your facial hair a good combing every day. Some man not touch it none at all. Some man just feel like, comb your beard, brother.
Yes.
Comb it. Brush it when it low like all mine, and then when it start, get a little fuller. Yeah, bro, comb it. Get out some of the knock them out.
Have a beard comb.
Have a beard comb, right?
And not the plastic ones. If you can get a nice
glass one, I'm sorry.
No.
Not the plastic ones. They say that you should either get one like those metal ones with the metal and the sole comb type thing.
Yeah.
For combing instead of the.
As in when it's full out.
Like when it's full out and you want to comb it. Not even that much. Instead, trying to remember what we were saying about in terms of. Just basically avoid the plastic ones.
Okay, all right, good stuff.
You know what people often ignore? Taking care of the skin underneath the beard.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So like the beard oils, you think it's really for the hair itself. You really need it to get it into the skin.
Right.
Because you'll find that you're flaking all over your clothes and stuff.
Of course.
And it's really the skin below is
dry. Of course.
Which is why I give my face a break every now and then.
So deep clean, while your beard probably gets rinsed in the shower and might get suds when you wash your face, neither is as good as a dedicated beard scrubbing. Cleanse it twice a week with a beard-specific product. Wash away oil, bacteria, even dead skin, right? It will also keep facial hair healthy, just like shampoo. Beard washing cuts down on itchiness and leaves the hair soft and shiny. After you've washed it, dry your beard by simply patting it with a soft, clean towel. rubbing can create frizz and tangles, right? Also, prevent your whiskers from getting dry and frizzy by applying a beard oil or a light moisturizer, right? And take a little clipper, and if you have some loose one, you know, you have some bad breed here, but just gone on the road before everybody else, right? Just snip it up, right?
But like some people, the hair on them face lie down and it neat. Some people it kind of frizz off. I mean, I've seen
some people
right.
frizz off.
Yeah. I've seen, you know, people go to the barber and I don't know if it's a hot comb or what them run treat, but they're like, them just get to face
neat and
man.
That's
So they
not
can
my
get all them
experience.
nice little designs and everything. My bad man at that slightly.
You know, but
Like
by
the
the time
hair
you
though.
go home and beard and them kind of something, you know, sometimes you
No,
kinda
you
get
have some
back to,
people
but you
who
have
just
to,
set.
And it is, you have to dedicate yourself to it. Growing a beard is a commitment. It is a commitment.
I saw a meme once that
That
said that you need to date a man with a beard because
that's patience.
it shows that he has patience and
Patience.
and
You need
commitment.
a
to
lot
deal
of-
with you.
When it's time, take off some length. Adding a beard trim to your routine haircut is a good move. Use professional clippers. And you can cut at any length that you so desire. As a perfect finishing touch, you can always also use a hot towel, you know, to open your pores. And in between professional trims, use a little scissors and clip. And if you have a machine at home, you can neat it up. But make the professional them handle the heavy work.
That's what we usually do. And
All right.
you can do the head yourself, but
But the face need a commitment from a professional, dedicated approach. See it?
Absolutely.
So, all right, that's it for Fresh to Death. Share with us some of your beard pictures, gentlemen. Do that on Twitter. Use the hashtag Jamaican Dadz. Let the ladies see what your beard care routine or your facial hair routine results look like, right? Also, you can share some of those as well on Instagram at Jamaican Dadz. And as always, just follow us on YouTube and share this information. All right, up next, it's Dad Try This.
It's now time for Dad Try This, a cool life hack for you fathers out there. And this week, we are focusing on meal prep. Big up to all the fathers who are out there helping to feed their families, even in the kitchen as well. Big up the fathers that can. You're a cooking dad. We're all cooking dads, as a matter of fact. But time sometimes does not permit us to spend as much in the kitchen as we want, and so meal prep is key, not just for bodybuilders, but meal prep. But what can you freeze and prepare and just heat up, you know, those ready-to-go meals? How do you? What's the best strategy that works for you?
So there are a couple of things you can do. So, like for breakfast ideas are the ones that we want to focus on now, because like for dinner, it's a little different. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go dinner first. What you can always do with dinner, if you are into meats or even if you're vegetarian, you can, well, with vegetarian it might be a little more difficult, right? But let me just stick with meats for now, right? You can season and prep your meats long before, pop them back into the freezer, and then when you're leaving out in the mornings, for example, you just put it out to thaw. So by the time you get home, it's ready for you to bake or stew or whatever means you use to prepare it. With breakfast, it might be a little more difficult in your mind, but it really is not that difficult. Pancakes, for example, right? You can pre-prep all your dry ingredients for your pancakes, right? And then in the morning, all you have to do, add your milk, add your egg, add your butter, whip, bam, pop it into the frying pan. And
pre-prep all the things. Now, out of box here, I'll take that. What else you need? The powders?
Sorry. Some people use boxed pancakes. Others of us actually make it from scratch, right?
No, I just didn't understand.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah. Then, for example, a boxed pancake on a dough.
No.
I don't do
That's why I
pancakes.
was.
You just do the pancakes overall. All right. Now,
sorry, I wasn't that country.
you can do.
Excuse me. From scratch sounds more like country. Boxer on the town people.
All right. Now, like egg sandwiches, for example, what you can do is get.
No, you can't prep that.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. So, let's say you get like half a dozen eggs, right?
Yes.
You whip them and put them into a baking tin. Then, and you add your ingredients, broccoli, whatever, you name it, carrots, whatever you want to add to it, and you bake it, right? You bake it, and then you cut it up, and you freeze it. You can actually freeze it. Yeah. So hear me out now. What you do is you'll also toast like your bread, right? And you put your baked egg on it, and then you take that egg. Sorry, you take the sandwich. You pre-make the sandwich, you know, right? You put it on. You lay a sheet of like baking paper, like wax paper, and you put a damp paper towel on that. And you're going to fold that over. Like, you know, like when they would wrap up a sandwich for you in a Burger King or one of them places, and you can freeze that, right? And when you're ready for it, you can pop it into the microwave for like 3 minutes, and you have a ready egg sandwich to go in the morning.
For me, I just gonna make it from scratch.
No, because when you when you make it from scratch, you will cut up your seasoning and you go do all of that prep in there. When on a Sunday you can
call Damien for some liquid egg, man, and just.
Yeah, but what happens is that you still have to stand over the pot to do it. Whereas when you pre-do it, all you've got to do is pop it into the microwave. 3 minutes time, ta-da! You cannot make an egg sandwich in 3 minutes from scratch. It never happen.
Yeah,
It never happen. You can do the same thing for burritos. Just wrap them in a damp paper towel, and then wrap that in the cooking paper, the wax paper. Put it in the freezer. It's good actually up to a month. You're not gonna keep it so long though.
Please don't.
A week or two, right?
But speaking from experience, will the children eat it?
Yes, they will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it don't taste and everything already. You see me? So yeah, there you go.
I'm gonna try that.
You should. You should. You definitely should. In fact, I will do like a cooking video around it and share it through the channel. Somehow.
And let thing 1 and thing 2 actually eat it on camera and smile.
No, they will give you their honest opinion. Them don't lie on camera. That is not
on camera.
Them know that's something that.
Okay, good.
All right, that's it for that. Try this. You can thank me later.
All right.
So,
and that's
them
where
need to start learn to lie on camera and tell the truth off.
the other way around, right?
Anyway, that's all the time we have the program for this week. Thank you very much for tuning in to the Jamaican Dad podcast. We hope that you enjoyed it. We hope that you share, comment if you're on Instagram, if you're on YouTube and Facebook. Give it a like, give it a share, give it a comment, recommend it to a friend as well, and give us a follow. Let's hear from you as well. Send your suggestions for topics of various segments to Jamaican Dadz podcast. Remember, it's with a Z, Jamaican Dadz podcast @gmail.com. As I said, follow us on our various social media platforms. You'll see it running through the screen as well. So I'm Dennis Brooks.
I'm Alan Campbell.
I'm Garth Williams, and we are
Jamaican Dadz.
Take care until next time.